everyone, and welcome to Lying Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. I am Carol Kearns. My husband, Harry Shue, is our co-host. Our mission for the show is twofold: to provide information about Connecticut Lions events and to showcase the many different organizations and causes that Lions support locally, regionally, and internationally. Harry?
Good evening and welcome. Please consult our website at www.lions23b.org or your district spirit for more information on coming events.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lying Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry.
We're here at the New England Lions Council Fall Weekend at Mount Snow, beautiful Grand Summit Resort here in West Dover. This is the Saturday banquet, and we are honored to have as our keynote speaker Johnny Cooper, who is the LCIF Chief of Philanthropy, who will be talking about Campaign 100. Carol.
We're all set to start kickoff for our Campaign 100.
On with the show.
En avant.
Working with past International Director Tom Rotten, we tried different ways to find someone to come up to speak to us. And I think eventually, when you hear this gentleman speak, I think you got the best deal possible. So, he is directly from Oprah, correct? He has his hands right on the pulse of LCIF, correct? He is the Chief of Philanthropy, Johnny Cooper.
Thank you, Lion Cat. Good afternoon, everyone. I said, good afternoon, everyone. All right. I'm happy to be here. My name is Johnny Cooper. As Lion Cat mentioned, I'm the Chief of Philanthropy for LCIF. Who knows what LCIF stands for? Can someone tell me? Okay. First, I'd like someone, if you would, raise your hand. Tell me, what is LCIF? Yes, sir.
It's the charitable organization belonging to Lions. It raises funds and spends them on critical needs.
Absolutely. Thank you. So it's the charitable arm of our association. We raise funds and we spend them on critical needs. Sir, did you have an answer? All right. Does anybody else have an answer for me? What is LCIF? There are a lot of answers, but there's one I'm looking for. Anybody else?
The global leader in community and humanitarian service.
Global leader in community and humanitarian service. Yes, that is true. In fact, in 2007, we were named the #1 charity in the world to work with by Charity Navigator is a different award that we got.
Times.
London, thank you. Financial Times London. Now, somebody mentioned Charity Navigator. We recently received our 7th consecutive 4-star rating. They're a charity watchdog. It means we're among the top 5% of organizations in the world to work with in terms of efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency. That's also something that's very, very important about LCIF. But there's one thing in particular that I'm looking for. Exactly. It's ours. There are many, many foundations and organizations that support Lions service, but LCIF is our foundation. LCIF is the foundation. It's the only foundation in the world that supports Lions service globally. No matter where you are or when you need us, we are there for you. LCIF is our foundation, and I think that's something that everybody needs to think about and to remember as we talk a little bit more about why we're engaging in Campaign 100 and why it's important to support LCIF. So historically, LCIF has worked in 4 areas: vision, youth, disaster relief, and humanitarian services. Campaign 100, I'll talk to you in just a moment, we'll talk about, we'll introduce our support in 4 new areas. Over the course of the last 50 years, LCIF has contributed more than $1 billion in global humanitarian aid. There are many countries in this world that cannot say that. $1 billion in humanitarian aid. That is something we all should be very, very proud of. We've funded more than 9 million cataract surgeries. 16 million children have been served by the Lions Quest program, our social and emotional learning program, at various levels throughout the education system. This happens in more than 100 countries that we implement this program. $118 million has been contributed to disaster relief over the course of the last 50 years. This is particularly relevant today because of what's been going on with Florence and with Michael in the South, with the fires, the wildfires in California. Disaster is nothing we're unfamiliar with, and LCIF is always there to help our Lions. And of course, something that's been sort of a central point of focus for Lions for many, many years is the vaccination of children against measles. It's something we continue to do. In fact, we've contributed over the last number of years more than $60 million to support the vaccination of 49 million children throughout the world. Can anyone tell me what this picture might be? You at night? Okay, me too. What can't you see in this picture? A face? Interest? The title of the newspaper? If any one of you were at home on the couch right now and you were to reach down into the cushions, what might you find?
Money.
Change. Maybe some popcorn or potato chips, who knows, right? An old battery from a remote. Change. When we talk about Campaign 100, I'll introduce the concept of the campaign, the big picture goals, and it seems like a wild number. $300 million is what we're trying to raise in the next 3 years. But the reality of it is, on any given day, we can reach down and find 50 cents, a couple bucks maybe in our couch. That's all it takes to make a difference in the world. Your spare change can change the world. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few moments. But remember that every dollar counts when we're talking about supporting LCIF. There are 1.4 million of us around the world. And over time, those dollars add up with that many members. And over time, our service adds up, and that's how we've been able to serve hundreds of millions of people on any given year. So I'll show you just a video right now to talk about the impact. I think this says as much as I can possibly say, and then we'll get a little bit deeper into what LCIF is going to be doing going forward.
We begin this hour with Hurricane Harvey.
The strongest to hit the U.S. in 13 years, provoking an unfolding flooding disaster.
The National Weather Service says it has never seen before.
The situation in Houston getting dire. Utter devastation.
This is the most widespread disaster I've ever seen in Houston. This city was brought to its knees.
Just going off and leaving everything you got, which I hate to do that because I've worked hard all my life for what I have.
I'm a business owner. Pretty much water coming up about 3 foot something. So pretty much like total loss.
It's just amazing that people's lives are sitting on the curb.
And it's got it. Yeah, it's empty.
The disaster and the relief that's necessary is too big for any single organization. Here in Texas, we have seen where Lions all working to help the people that need the help the most.
The outpouring, I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
People didn't have anything.
sure that there's something in these shelters for them to distribute. I met trucks from New Mexico, from Rhode Island, from New York. When we were hearing that other people weren't able to get to us, the Lions got to us.
When I was in the shelters, I witnessed people coming in that were soaked from head to toe. The Lions provided pillows and blankets, toys for the children, comforts that we don't think about.
There was an overwhelming response. We started sorting donations as they were coming in. Clothing and food and water and baby supplies and foods. We just ran out of room.
Lions secured this warehouse, and so the overflow of all the supplies started coming here. There probably have been 800 to 1,000 volunteers.
People from the community were able to come in here with shopping carts and shop and get things that they needed.
We coordinated teams that went out to a subdivision who've been devastated by flooding.
We're getting them prepped so they can rebuild. So all those things that need to be removed, the insulation, the sheetrock, carpeting, the molding, the doors.
I've seen that kindness really matters to the Lions.
Is seeing the Lions get into parts of Texas that really need the help, and that's really what the Lions have done.
Whether it's Harvey or Irma or earthquake in Mexico, who's going to be there? Lions.
So, disaster affects each and every one of us in some way, and we're all there for one another. This is just one story that underscores the importance of this international Lions community, because it wasn't just the Lions from New Hampshire that they mentioned, or the Lions from New York that they mentioned. It was the Lions from Japan and from the Philippines and from Korea and from India who contribute to to LCIF each and every day, that were able to make that catastrophe grant possible. It's Lions from Canada, it's Lions from Mexico, it's Lions from California and Idaho. It's about our international associations of Lions and how when we come together, 1.4 million strong, we can do just about anything. And I think that's true with each and every one of the cause areas that LCIF supports, and each and every one of the things that you do in your community. So I want to thank you first for the support that you all have given throughout New England to LCIF. I know in the previous campaign there was just some outstanding support from this region to help us achieve the $200 million goal that we did in 2008. Now we're trying to reach higher. The previous two campaigns for LCIF were focused on vision. And I think something that we've learned over the years is that while vision is very, very important, there are a lot of things that are important to a lot of Lions that we've not really focused on. And so, as an outgrowth of the expanded global causes at the association level, LCIF has also gone through a process to identify which of those areas we're going to support. And we're going to support each and every one of them. So there are 8 areas now that we'll support as a foundation. This campaign will get us there. Campaign 100 has 3 major focal points. It's to increase our service impact in those 4 areas that I talked about before: vision, humanitarian service, youth, and disaster relief. We're going to double down on our fight against diabetes. We're investing a tremendous amount of money into this as an association and as a foundation to make sure that we're reducing prevalence of diabetes and we're providing resources to those who are at risk. Early diagnosis is the best way to get out in front of this disease. And the third pillar of this campaign is to expand into new areas. Those 3 areas are, can anyone tell me what those might be?
Childhood cancer.
Childhood cancer, thank you. The environment, yes sir? And hunger. That was the first one. So childhood cancer, hunger, and the environment are our 3 additional cause areas that we're focused on. Now, Campaign 100 is focusing on all of 8 of these areas. It means that we are more things to more people. It's hard to find a Lion around the world, and I hope you'd agree, that can't wrap their arms around one of these causes. that would say, no, I'm not going to support you, I'm not going to give to this campaign because I don't believe in any one of those things. It's hard to find anyone even outside of our association that wouldn't want to support those things. We believe that this approach will help us to generate more and more support so that we can do more and more service. After all, LCIF's goal is to empower the service of Lions throughout the world. So the introduction of Campaign 100. 100 is a very, very significant number for our community of Lions. Can anybody tell me the significance of the number 100? Okay, that's easy. 100 years of service. I've got 3 of the answers up here, so can someone call out another one? 100% participation. That's great. Now, can you tell me how many Lions around the world support LCIF today?
3%.
20?
3.
3? 6%. 6. It seems very small. I couldn't agree with you more. We can do better. I think everyone in this room agrees that we can do better. That means only about 100,000 Lions around the world are supporting this organization by making a direct donation on a given year. We can do better. So we want 100% participation from Lions. We also want every Lion to give as much as they can, but we'd like every Lion to achieve $100 a year. Because if only 2/3 of our membership gave $100 a year, we'd be raising $100 million each and every year. That's the other significance of 100. Our goal is to move from the $38 to $40 million that we raise on an annual basis to 100. Because if we can serve 200 million people on a given year by raising $40 million, just think of what we can do with $100 million a year. Think of the service projects that you could do, that you can institute in your areas, and the impact that you can have over time, with more and more money available to empower that service. I think it's pretty remarkable. Now, there are a few other meanings of the number 100. Can I have another volunteer? What does 100 mean to this organization? Again, I'm looking for one particular answer. Well, the next 100 years? We want to empower service for the next 100 years, yes? Tom, I know you know the answer to this. You learned this last weekend. 100% of each and every dollar that you donate to LCIF goes directly to programs. There are. Thank you. It's definitely another aspect of our organization to be proud of. Not many organizations can say that. And the ones who can are extraordinarily responsible and transparent and effective with your dollars. You know that the dollar you give is going to go to a recipient. You know it's going to go to the service projects that we are conducting as Lions. We have overhead, but that is paid for by the investments that we've made, so that no portion of a donation is taken to pay the costs of operating our foundation. So that's something you can be very, very confident and proud about our organization. The campaign name was also pretty deliberate, 100, because of all those reasons. But this logo, in particular, is pretty unique. There's something about the first 0 in 100 that's a little bit different. Can anybody point out one of the characteristics of it? It's in movement. It's moving, yes, because we're always moving. We're always changing. We're always adapting to the needs of our world so that we can serve the people in our communities. Much like that, Campaign 100 is adapting the service areas that we're supporting. But primarily, What's in the center of that zero? Lions. Us. It's our foundation, and at the center of everything that we do as a foundation are our lions. That is the entire reason we're here. That is the entire reason that Campaign 100 is our next and most ambitious effort ever undertaken. So I talk about $100 a year. Yes, $100 a year. What impact can that have? $100 can provide an entire classroom with Lions Quest for an entire year. It can fund 2 cataract surgeries. It can provide immediate relief to 4 victims in the wake of a disaster. It can provide 14 hungry people with access to food. It can test 18 at-risk people for diabetes. And it can do many, many more things. That's only $2 a week. $8.33 a month. I don't know if you can find $8.33 a month in your couch, but you could probably give up a beer or two, right? A coffee at Starbucks? I'm sorry? A few coffees? Right. Somehow we can make a sacrifice to find $2 a week to support something that's so good. And that's what I just want everyone to think about. What can we do in addition to our service to support this massive effort and undertaking to change our organization for the next 100 years? We're responding to the needs of the world. Campaign 100's goal, I mentioned, is $300 million over the next 3 years. We're looking for 100% participation from Lions so that we can achieve serving hundreds of billions of people each and every year. This is about fundamentally transforming our organization from the $40 million that we raise today to 100 and more each and every year. Now, there's a particular thing that this takes, and it's behavior change, it's a cultural change. Because 6% of Lions today give. How do we make that 7 or 10? Education, awareness, ask. All of these things are right. Many Lions don't give to LCIF because they might not be aware of it. They might not understand the role that we play in their service. They might not have been asked. In fact, in my profession in fundraising, the biggest problem I ever have with people, and the reason they don't give is because nobody's ever asked them. So it's important to be standing here in front of a room of folks like you to ask, but also to ask that you ask. The small staff that we have in Oak Brook can't possibly reach every single Lion around the world. But as our proxies, as our representatives, as our leaders amongst fellow Lions, you can help to generate support for LCIF and for Campaign 100. You can take some of these messages back to your clubs, back to your districts, and you can share with people the importance of what LCIF is doing and what we're going to do over the next 100 years. As part of this campaign, we're generating more stories, more videos like this. We're out there sourcing new content so we can tell you exciting new stories about the work that you've done, the work that your fellow Lions have done around the world. Those are the tools that we're going to be providing to help you tell this story, but also the tools that we're going to be using to try to connect with each and every one of you. I don't know how much more simply we can communicate the message of impact that any one of us can have. $2 per week, every week. If you don't find it in your couch, maybe use it as a piggy bank and stuff it in your couch until your next club meeting. So there are many ways the Lions can get involved. First, we want every Lion to lead by example. We want every Lion to give. We want to encourage every Lion to give. We have a few other programs that I'd like to, I'll tell you about. I've got about 5 or so minutes left. Model clubs is one of them. This is something you might be familiar with from a previous campaign. We ask each and every Lion to give $100 per year. Over the course of a 3-year campaign, that amounts to how much? $300. Now, if we could get every Lion to give, on average, $300 for the life of the campaign, we'll raise close to $400 million. We'll blow that goal out of the water. And this isn't our first time at the rodeo, though, because in campaign site first 2, on a $150 million goal, we raised $205. So we can do this. Now, to become a model club, your club has to raise an average of $750 per member. That sounds like a lot. But we're not just talking individual gifts. We're talking gifts from your treasury, gifts from fundraising events, gifts from individuals, gifts from local businesses. If you have a bingo game, host a special game and make the proceeds from that go to LCIF once every month. There are ways to achieve these numbers so that your clubs can be recognized amongst all clubs at international convention and throughout the year. So those are some of the aspects of model clubs. Now, in each of your folders, you have information about model clubs. You have your commitment form and you have your brochure. There's a lot of information. You can take that back and have the conversation with your club officers and your members to see, are you interested in becoming a model club? Many of you might already be close to becoming a model club. Now, model clubs are a particularly unique program that we're dealing with. It's not just 3 years. When we launched Campaign 100 at the Las Vegas convention in July, we launched it with $52.5 million toward our goal. Since then, we've raised an additional $10 million in cash. So we're 22% to this goal so far.
Boy, what a great organization LCIF is, Carol. That Hurricane Harvey video was very moving.
Yes, it was.
So you can donate to LCIF as well. Just go to our website, lionsclubs.org, and come back next week for more of Johnny Cooper and Campaign 100. That'll do it for this episode of Lion Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed our show this evening. Tune in next week for another Lion Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. Good night.
Bye-bye.